Hey folks, Andrew Bopros here. Well, I'm going to do a video on the rookies reporting today, guys. We might even have a video later on today, with Jim Harbaugh, somebody else speaking on the team. Who knows? But yeah, it's a big day, guys. And I don't think these two men are done. I think that we're going to go out and get some more players, Stephon Gilmore, maybe a defensive lineman, maybe even another cornerback, maybe another safety. Who knows? I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to go out and get a few more guys to potentially round out this roster, make it as deep and as wide as possible. So I want to talk about the rookies today. I want to get into that. I'm going to talk about the undrafted free agents. I'm not going to go through the entire list of 31 rookies reporting today. Not going to do all that. But I'm going to talk about the rookies I think that have a shot at potentially making the squad, undrafted rookies, and talk about the rookies that we have coming in. So, guys, lots to talk about. Let's get Bull Bros. Okay, folks, as always, like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I'm Andrew Bopros. And again, please leave a comment down for the algorithm. At least just hit that like button at the end. And please, just at the end of the day, it helps us out a lot. And, we try and prepare some good content for you folks. So, yeah, these gentlemen are doing a good job. Again, we have about $20 million. Let me just look it over the cap real quick as I'm chatting. Yeah, it looks like $20 million still available. Now, again, we're going to get some news. We'll start hearing more about, veterans we're talking about, right? I already talked about Stephon Gilmore. There's a few other cornerbacks out there that we could potentially go get. My point is it'll be interesting to see if we do decide to go after some additional depth. I'm very curious to see what happens there. But let's talk about the rookies and go into, what we can expect moving forward. And guys, by the way, check out Kyle's video on the Bolt. Absolutely amazing facility. We do have a bunch of extra tickets for training camp. Also, we actually have, I think, 4 tickets each day the first week, and we have quite a few on Saturday. So if you guys want tickets, please leave a comment down below. We'll raffle them off and give them to you as viewers, as long as we can transfer them or maybe meet you down at the gate, something of that nature. We'd love to meet you guys in person. We're going to be there. We're going to be doing some things with the director potentially and some of the other YouTubers also. So it should be a lot of fun. So leave a comment, message us, and we'll try and get you guys a ticket. Okay. So yeah, again, these guys are doing a fantastic job. I'm excited for the season. Again, 8.5 games. I do think that's a good bet we should take with Vegas. If you're a betting man or woman, not a bad bet. I know I'm going to be taking that bet here very shortly. So let's talk about the first rookie, Joe Alt. And we all know Joe Alt was a left tackle out of college at Notre Dame, but he has moved to right tackle. Now I'll say this. He's a generational talent. This guy is going to be incredible. The guy's 21 years old, gigantic. He's got a huge future ahead of him. I'm not worried about him at all. I think he's going to be absolutely fantastic. It'll be interesting to see how Pipkins moves to right guard. I think he'll be fine. But it's going to be interesting to see how this offensive line rounds itself out. Now, again, the whole point of the rookies coming in now is they're not under the same rules as veterans, right? Under the the league rules as far as working with players. They get to ride rookies like Seabiscuit, beat them up, beat them up, beat them up. So by the time they go into the NFL game one, they are absolutely ready, and that's exactly what you're going to try and get here. But this guy, Joe Alt, he's kicking butt. He's looking good. Everyone seems to be very happy and high on him at the moment. So not a whole lot to say about him, but I'm excited to see how he helps with the running game, and I think we're going to be absolutely fantastic moving forward. Another guy, Ladd McConkey. Look at this dude. He's even got the chain. Check that out. Got the chain right there. Got a little swag. Got engaged. Dude's got skills, man. You know that. I know that. I mean, I truly believe that he's going to be a fantastic wide receiver for the Chargers, and I really do believe that he's going to do a good job with Justin Herbert moving forward. He's not going to have a problem, getting on the same page. Justin Herbert, I think, even said that he actually is he's acting like a 4-year, veteran in the NFL. The guy just knows how to run routes and get open. So we all know these two are going to be on the field majority of the time. I think it's pretty well established. I don't feel like there's going to be any problems with either one of these two. But let's talk about the players that I think kind of going to be interesting to see. Junior Colson, I think he's going to be an interesting one. Now, again, Jesse Minter runs a 4-3 defense, so you would assume we have 3 linebackers out there. I would not be surprised if that were the case. You had Denzel Perriman, Deion Henley. We're going to go pretty linebacker heavy. Colson right here knows the defense very well. I would not be surprised if he gets the green dot. I don't know that he will. I'm not sure. Navarro Bowman seems to be a little bit like, probably not. You never know. But look, I actually think that he knows the defense. He knows Jesse Minter. It would make sense to have that continuity. Having said that, that's college. This is pro. So I think there's a lot to be said about, whether or not, Denzel Perriman runs it right. He's a veteran. He knows what he needs to do. Personally, I like Junior Colson running because it would allow Denzel Perriman to play a little more free. And I think that's really where Denzel Perriman is his best. He's a very hard-hitting linebacker. But this rookie right here, if he can really command the defense the way that Jesse Minter wants, gosh, that's so valuable, even as a rookie, guys. So I think that would be absolutely amazing. So again, Junior Colson, he will be a starter. I think Navarro Bowman's kind of playing it, a little close to the vest, right? He doesn't want to get his head to get too big, but this guy's the gamer. He's going to do a great job. And I think Deion Henley is going to have a breakout season. I am 100% expecting him to just absolutely light up the NFL. So I'm expecting some good things. So let's talk about this guy, Justin Aboigbe. Look, he's a bit of a work in progress. He's had some injuries. If you recall, in college, he had a neck injury when he was at Alabama. And he's you watch the tape on this guy. This guy's a beast. He's fantastic. I think this is where you start looking at him as a bit of a depth piece. I don't know that he's going to be playing a ton with what he has in front of him, right? And again, I think your first 3 picks in the NFL draft really need to be day one starters or at least contributors right out of the gate. This guy will probably get some snaps depending on injuries on the defensive line, right? And if we go after and go get a veteran, right, that we've talked about in a few of our prior videos, he'll just be pushed more down the list. But again, I think we also want to make sure he's healthy, he's able to play. But when this guy's on the field, he's pretty electric. He's really good. And again, he's played edge as well. So he's very versatile. We might use him for some very interesting packages, maybe 3rd and long packages where we just really want to pressure the quarterback. I could see him coming in there with the rest of our edge rushers and just absolutely getting at the quarterback. And so, again, I think he'll be used, but I think he'll be used a little more sparingly than the prior 3. But again, Justin Aboigbe, I'm a huge fan of. Again, he's probably the one work in progress player that we have on this list. Well, maybe 2. I'll talk about one a little more later on, but I do think Justin Aboigbe will be, getting some more snaps. I would say probably more towards the end of the year, depending on injuries. Another one, Tarheeb Still. He looks a lot bigger here in this photo than I really imagine him. It's kind of funny when we drafted him. I remember in the draft, a lot of people thought, he could have been an undrafted free agent. But this guy is a ball hawk, and he's actually very physical. So, I like him. I think some people had him ranked incorrectly. The more I've looked at what Tarheeb Still has done, he is a very good ball hawk corner, right? He's going to be most likely the nickel corner. And, in a pass heavy offense like we get in the NFL, you need a strong nickel. And this guy is a very strong nickel. And so I like what he does. And I think he will be good. Again, you have Jasir Taylor as well, who's done a very good job also. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, I really think Tarheeb Still might be that guy. It'll be those 2 that'll be the starting nickel for this team. I'm excited about him. And again, guys, when he was drafted, I really didn't feel like I felt like we reached for him. I really didn't feel like, a lot of people, I even remember draft day, they were like, oh man, he could have probably been an undrafted free agent. I don't know about this guy. He tested okay. There were some things about him that I think people were like, I don't know. But I mean, right now it's looking like he might be the nickel corner starter, which is shocking because I do think Jasir Taylor's done a great job. So talk about work in progress, Cam Hart. Now, Cam Hart, a lot of people like him. Again, our secondaries coach, O'Leary, came from Notre Dame. He knows Cam Hart. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if O'Leary pushed really hard to get him. And this guy's big. He's a big physical corner. And so I like that about him because right now we don't have 2 big physical corners, or we really don't. Fulton's not big. Asante Samuel is not big. So you look at these guys and you kind of like this guy's frame, but he does lack some footwork and some interesting ball hawking abilities, so on and so forth. Now, you can also make the argument that in college they just didn't throw it his direction, which could be very accurate as well, right? Because a lot of people in college, you don't go after the big guys, you go after the smaller guys you can pick on. And he's one of those dudes that you could have said, well, let's avoid him a little bit, right? So, but Cam Hart, again, a lot of people had him as kind of a work in progress. Also, I saw very mixed reviews on him, and when we picked him up in the draft, right after Tarheeb, you thought, well, what are we going to get out of this guy? And, the reality is we still don't really know. They haven't talked about him a whole lot. But I will say this, he is a physical corner, right? So I think maybe third and shorts, definite running plays. You might see him out there a little more frequently. Could be interesting to see, how he is utilized. I do suspect he'll get some playing time. And again, with injuries, I mean, knock on wood, hopefully we do not have injuries. I really hope Ben Herbert can get our team just 100% solid. And that Bolt, man, I mean, it's state-of-the-art facilities. They're going to keep people as healthy as possible. But, Cam Hart could be that guy when injuries start occurring, or, it's the length of the season, right? He could step in. So we'll see how it goes. But again, I kind of felt like, just like Justin Aboybe, he was a little more of a work in progress. Even really Tarheeb Steele as well, too. But Tarheeb has looked great in camp so far. So definitely Cam Hart's one to check out. Another guy, Kamani Vidal, I think I'm saying that correctly, our running back. Now, I think we're going to be a three-headed monster, and it's going to be, J.K. Dobbins, who I still think is going to be the number one running back. I think he's probably more healthy than Gus Edwards, and I think Kamani Vidal, and then you'll probably have Isaiah Spiller. I think Isaiah Spiller would be very interesting to see if he even makes a squad. The 53-man roster. I'm very curious to see what we end up doing with him, just because I don't know that he'll clear waivers on. He probably will clear waivers. He probably will, just because at the very beginning, they have their players they want to have and keep on their squad, right? So they're not going to pick and poach typically first, waiver wire in the NFL. But I think Kamani Vidal is a very nice compliment to Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. I think they're very good running backs. I mean, I think they're all going to come in for different type of plays. I think it really will be a bit of a running back by committee. And I think Kamani Vidal does a lot of really good things. I just see him as, he's an Austin Eckler type of guy, right? He'll catch the ball out of the backfield, very hard to bring down. He's just a bowling ball coming down in the hill. So, look, he's going to get touches. Again, depending on injuries, we'll see a lot of him, or a little bit of him. We'll see what happens. But I suspect we're going to see a lot of Kamani Vidal this year as well. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the rookies that I think are going to be a little interesting, and then I'm going to briefly go over the undrafted free agents that I want to talk about. I don't want this video to be too long, and it's already longer than I want it to be because, I could be a little long-winded. But Cornelius Johnson. Now, I will say this. Cornelius Johnson, I think this is a bit of home cooking here. I see him as like a poor man's Mike Williams, right? I think he's a bit of work in progress, but he is an extremely great blocker. Very good blocker. And a lot of people really had him as just really a blocker. I would personally like to see him convert to a tight end, put a little more weight on this guy and make him a tight end. I think that would, to me, I think that's the right track for him in the NFL. Whether it happens or not, who knows? What the hell do I know? I don't know anything. But at the end of the day, I think Cornelius Johnson, could be a very good tight end. Now, whether that happens or not, who knows? But I do think he probably will find a spot on special teams. So whether that's, I really do think Brendan Rice and Cornelius Johnson will make the 53-man roster just because they don't want to lose them in waiver wires. But they have to be on special teams, and they need to perform on special teams. If not, they might have a hard time making the 53-man roster. So, but I think Cornelius is a good enough blocker. I think he will make special teams, and that's what I'm getting at, right? And so, again, he can do things very well. His hands are good, not great, but he does do the 50-50 ball like a Mike Williams. He's got that tall frame. Again, I would love to see him convert to a tight end. I think that would add more value to him as a football player. And again, not last but not least, actually, I flipped this around. Cornelius Johnson was drafted after Brendan Rice, but Brendan Rice, you get the point. I think he'll make the team, but he'll probably have to be special teams again. Maybe they'll use him in the backfield for special teams or something of that nature, maybe a gunner. Who knows? But I think Brendan Rice, will make the squad. How he's utilized will be very interesting because I don't really suspect we're going to do a lot of spread as often. I think we're going to run a lot of, 2 tight end sets, maybe even have Ben Mason in the backfield as a fullback and just go heavy power at times. So, a lot of these wide receivers are going to be rotated in and out. But Brendan Rice has got the skills, guys. He really does. And, you don't want to lose a guy like that. And guys, as we all know, injuries occur in the NFL. So you want to keep your squad as tight as possible. So I'm curious to see. I think you're going to see a lot of Cornelius Johnson and Brendan Rice in the preseason games. That's my point, right? Even Kamani Vidal. And, Boygbe, all the above, right? Cam Hart, Tarheeb Still. Those guys are going to really have to show something in special teams and or, the offense and or defense in preseason to really, find themselves on this squad, right? So a lot to be said about that. Now, I'm going to be very brief on the undrafted free agents that I think have a shot, but I want to know what your thoughts are on this list that I have. And these are the ones I think actually have an opportunity of potentially making the squad. I'm going to explain why. First one is Nugent. And, I think this kind of goes without saying, right? Again, this is a bit of home cooking. Nugent obviously is known by, this coaching staff for the most part. Very versatile offensive lineman. Not a whole lot to be said about this. I actually kind of feel like he's a lock for the 53-man roster, or at least the practice squad. Just there's too much about him because he's very useful. Very, very, you could probably just put him on, special teams and just keep him as a depth piece. But I really, truly believe he'll make the squad large because he knows, Jim Harbaugh. And I think the familiarity is a nice thing. Second, this guy from App State, right? I'm not a huge fan of this dude. He kind of became this, man, I don't even know how to describe it. Everyone just wanted to talk about this guy. And I'm like, bro, he's pretty undersized. I mean, yeah, you could make an argument that he's a Jim Harbaugh guy, but I don't know. I didn't look at him. He's 6'2", 304 pounds. That's about the size of an offensive lineman, really a center, but he's a Harbaugh guy. I mean, look at this dude. He looks like he, makes his own moonshine in the mountains, and okay, I don't know. I went to a small conference, Sun Belt, I don't know. I look at him and think, okay, cool. He does have good effort, good leverage, but we'll see. But a lot of people seem to be very high on him. So he made the list largely because of that. And I do think we're going to run a lot of offensive linemen as well. They might try and move him around. Maybe with his size, they might use him as like a 6 lineman, maybe put him in as like a 2 fullback set and you just power the ball through the, to the middle. Who knows, right? He could be utilized in kind of interesting ways. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, another center we could bring in as a depth piece. Right now, currently, Hymus is our backup center, but we'll see. Another guy, I'm high on this guy. I almost think that there's almost no way this guy doesn't make the team, or at least the 53-man roster. I just think Zach Hines is just that guy. He's big, he's physical, he can block. He does a lot of the good things very well. I think he's 260, 6'6", 260. Yowzers. And a lot of people said he had the best hands of anyone on the team for the Jackrabbits, right? So South Dakota State Jackrabbits. And Sioux Falls native went to South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits. Back-to-back national champions. I just think he's a lock personally. But again, you never really know, right? I think it's going to boil down to whether he makes a 53-man roster or he moves on to just the practice squad. Will remain to be seen. But again, I think he's done well enough. And I think, again, like I said, preseason is going to really determine what he ends up as on this team, right? So I think I really like him. I think he could be the guy. So we'll see. Special teams, potentially a starter, very big guy, very good blocker. I think he could just be the special teams guy, initially, and then, slowly move up with injury, yada, yada. You know how that plays out. Another guy I've always been high on, and I've talked about him a number of times because he's very flexible, is Akeem Dent. And Akeem Dent is one of those dudes that, he's just very, very NFL ready. A lot of people like him. Again, he was a high recruit. He had a very high RAS score, relative athletic score, 8.65. Former 4-star recruit out of Florida State. Again, he could play safety. He's also played nickel. He's played corner. See, to me, again, that's kind of my point, right? I like the fact that he can play a lot of those different positions. And with question marks that we have at the cornerback room, depending on some of these other cornerbacks I'm going to talk about here in a second, you could see him just making the squad because he can play special teams and then potentially step in and be a depth piece for a corner if we start having major injuries at a corner. You want guys that are not one-trick ponies. This man is not a one-trick pony. I should say young man, right? He's very young. So, again, I like what he does. And again, where the hell's JT Woods, right? Like I don't see anything with that guy, right? I'm saying AG Finley's probably the fourth safety on our team. I would say Akeem Dent might be that sort of special team / specialist that can play a number of different positions depending on injuries and so on and so forth. Another guy right here, this guy right here from Ole Miss is Zamiri Walton. Again, AJ Finley came from Ole Miss also, which I think is really interesting, but very similar size, 6'1", around 200 pounds, well, 188, 190, 200 pounds. Very quick, 4.54 40-yard dash. But other than that, he was kind of had some pedestrian numbers at the combine. That's probably why he slipped. But here's the thing. He's a ball hawk. He has a nose for the ball, 21 passes, and it's knocking away 21 passes and intercepting 5 in 6 seasons in college. So he's good, right? Again, I just really, truly believe he's a good depth piece. Whether he makes a squad or not will remain to be seen again. But the thing about him, again, I don't know that our cornerback room is really solidified. So I think our room this is a battle that he could potentially win is what I'm getting at. So I look at a guy like this, he could be the guy. So we'll see. Dean Leonard also went to Ole Miss and from Canada. We won't hold that against him, but I'll say this. Dean Leonard is definitely above Zamari Walton, but if he can show some special teams moxie, could be interesting. So I got one more guy on the list and then I'll wrap up. So our boy here from Clemson, and again, Clemson's a big school. Jalen Phillips, again, he's a safety also. Now, very interesting, 6'1", 200 pounds. Again, a little bit bigger than Zamari, but I think he definitely has an opportunity, largely just because of size. And again, if you start looking at the new special teams rules, and James is going to be doing a video on special teams sometime this week, you need fast, big, physical guys that can tackle. That's kind of what I'm getting at, right? These could be the gunner specialists, much like Jasir Taylor and Dean Leonard were on special teams a few years ago. So that would make it important for these guys to potentially be on this squad. And adding more safeties are a good thing because we all know safeties, they take a lot of punishment, right? So, but again, his speed wasn't there. He's 4.64, 40-yard dash. But he's a very good hitter, covers tight ends very well. He could be converted. I actually like him potentially moving into a linebacker role. We'll see how that plays out. But again, a little bit of a longer video, guys, but I did want to show you, these are the people that I want to watch, going into camp. These guys are going to be ridden like Seabiscuit folks, right? They don't have the same rights and rules as veteran players, right? They are pushed, prodded, zapped, and told what to do, and then you better go out and do it because they have to make the squad. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, guys. So what do you think of my list? What do you think of my thoughts on the drafted players? What do you think about the undrafted free agents? And again, guys, leave a comment down below. We do have some free tickets. We are going to be giving them away. So definitely talk to us. We are going to be there this Saturday. James and I will be there on Monday and Tuesday. I don't know if Kyle will be there for sure, but we're going to have some extra tickets. So please reach out to us. Leave a comment down below saying you want a ticket, and we will try and get you one. So, guys, Andrew Bopros, again, like and subscribe. Hit that button. Put a comment down for the algorithm. See you guys in the next one.